Hey look everyone, I'm joined by a friend today, aren't I?
Yeah, Elmo loves joining the drawing.
What? You're meant to be Kermit, but you're talking like Elmo. What a weird style swap. Hi, I'm Jazza, and today we're going to do character style swaps. But this time's slightly different because we're doubling it up. Specifically, over on Insert Art, Alicia has joined me, or at least she will at the end of this video, to spin that wheel and do more style swaps that I'll join her for over on Insert Art. So go check out the Insert Art channel after this video. But it's time for me to get started with some style swaps on this video. I'm going to start off with character Jack Skellington in the style of Pokemon! Let's get started. We begin with Jack Skellington. So let's redesign Jack Skellington as a Pokemon. Now the biggest, most obvious thing is his head. Very round and also, you know, most fitting in terms of the features that would carry over into the Pokemon designs. Big black eyes and a mouth that sort of fills up a lot of the head and has these little stitches all the way along. Jack Skellington is a creature in a human world. So Jack Skellington is not human. It makes sense to sort of go more along the Pokemon route. His design isn't particularly Pokemon-esque though, but there is this very spindly look that I think we need to go with. But he needs to look like a Pokemon, not just like a cute, chubby little Jack Skellington. So we can make more of this collar here, which would really be like a Pokemon character's like design feature. And rather than a suit, this can be just how his skin marking looks, you know, in a penguin-esque way. Ooh, penguin. Penguin's a good reference. Just a cute, adorable, okay, wrong penguin. There you go. So here are some penguins. Like I said, they're basically Pokemon. It feels right that Jack Skellington, the Pokemon, is based on the proportions of a penguin. Let's give him the neck. So the question is, does the neck make him look like Chibi Jack or a Pokemon? If I get rid of the neck, bring the head back down, I think that's Chibi Jack. But with the long neck, it's a little bit more of like a weird Pokemon creature design. In which case, do we lean into it? I think so. I think that's more Pokemon for sure. Let's chuck in some lines, some color, and see if he fits in the Pokemon world. Honestly, most of the work, as you can see, was actually in the planning and the sketching. With my sketch in place, it's just a matter of putting in some line works and slapping in the colors. I mean, the appeal with Pokemon comes down to the simplicity in their design and their colors. And this is already happening with the Jack Skellington design. It's white and black with, you know, a few extra stripes on his body, which I've put in as sort of body markings instead of like a pinstripe suit. Otherwise, everything is, you know, pretty straightforward. You tell me if you think my little Jack Skellymon fits in with the group. I think he does. I think he does. He's definitely a shadow type or a ghost type. I don't know, you let me know, and let me know his abilities. That was a great one to sort of get the party started. Let's see if I can turn it up a notch or two. Get it turned, because it's a wheel. Next character. Homer Simpson in the style of... Now, I think you'll agree, we're not gonna do Homer Simpson in the style of The Simpsons, we're gonna do Homer Simpson in the style of Atlantis, the Lost Empire. So here he is, our source of inspiration, our original character that we're gonna be recreating in a rather contrasting style. Now, what I love about Atlantis, the Lost Empire is basically what makes it the most unique and memorable to me. It is their character designs. They have this really sharp-edged, unique character style of design. Now, while this is a very uncanny combination, this is honestly most of the fun of this sort of challenge and video for me. It's trying to make sense of it. Like, why would there be a character like the Homer Simpson we know in Atlantis, the Lost Empire? Now, if you haven't seen Atlantis, the Lost Empire, basically this character, Milo, convinces some wealthy tycoon to invest in the machinery and crew needed to uncover Atlantis, the Lost Empire. So aside from the expensive and massive ship required to go down to Atlantis, the crew itself is a ragtag team of people from all around the world. So it works that a fairly American character fits amongst this crew, which is Homer, where every character sort of has their thing thing that accentuates their personality. Like Vinny, the explosion specialist, has a really dry undertone, like a really low-key style, but it's very amusing. And Homer, I think, really fits in the crew. I mean, Homer Simpson works at the nuclear power plant. Homer in Atlantis, the Lost Empire, mans the nuclear fusion station. Now with that said, Homer Simpson in his Simpsons style has a very appealing and simple aesthetic, which actually softens the abrasive and unappealing elements of his personality, putting him in a bit more of a gritty crew with actually quite a muddy color palette and more realistic proportions is gonna really accentuate the fact that, okay, he's unshaven, he's balding, he's fat, he's middle-aged. All of a sudden he's looking less and less appealing the more you accentuate the features that they emphasize in The Simpsons as core parts of his personality. And now I need to put some colors in place that are basically derived from the color palette of the cast of Atlantis, the Lost Empire. Which the more I pull from, the more I realize how actually quite flat and muddy these colors are. And maybe it's stuff like that that meant that Atlantis wasn't as successful as it could have been. But even if Atlantis didn't crush it in the box office, I think Homer crushes it in Atlantis, at least in my depiction. Even just putting him in this screenshot with the characters next to him like they're watching him pilot the ship and he's just offering them a donut. I feel like this is the Homer Simpson I am familiar with in a way that actually doesn't look wrong in Atlantis. I feel like this works. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, let's do another one. Next character. Pikachu in the style of Dr. Seuss. All right, this one is gonna be hard. Why? Because Pikachu is technically based on a kind of animal. He's based on a mouse. Then as far as characters goes, okay, you have like Thing 1 and Thing 2 have this sort of like overbite thing going on. But when you get to animals, that's where we switch it up a bit. And as you can see down with the fox, we have like these long, snouty, pointed noses. A lot of different sort of aesthetics for animals where characters have more appealing and rounded proportions. So is Pikachu an animal or a character, human? No. So is it a thing or a who? Is Pikachu's nose tight and small and stout? Or does it go flapping and wandering about? And do I like it here or there? No. I do not like it anywhere. Oh my God! Let's go more along the lines of Thing 1 and Thing 2. We're gonna go with proportions with this overbite. This is a start. I feel like we're getting somewhere. So having the long ears with the little tufts on the end is sort of reminiscent of quite a lot of these long ears, like the fox there. Hair at the top of the head, I think we can over accentuate that a little more. Now to make him more animalistic, rather than leaning into longer proportions and limbs, and have really long arms and hands, and just like non-existent legs. Just sort of rolls straight into like knee and foot. Everyone has sort of like mittens and gloves, except the Thing 1 and Thing 2, they sort of look like they're wearing onesies, which I think Pikachu would have the same sort of feel. That, to me, is a pretty solid Dr. Seussian Pikachu. But otherwise, really to do this well, it's all gonna come down to style, which as you can see, that style of like line shading and having those colored, hatched, shaded areas just with lines, and otherwise it's simple, flat colors. To pull that off, I need the right pen. Luckily, I have a variety of inks. You'll notice, okay, all my drawing has been done with the construction pencil, at least the sketching, and with each of these styles, I just sort of pick the right brushes for the job. Like in this case, I might pick the impact ink. Look at that. Our impact ink has just that little bit of traditional texture to it, just that little bit of dryness. And I have 7 inks in my set. By the way, this video I'm just gonna bring to you by my ultimate digital brushes. Now, this whole pack was built to be the go-to, the be-all and end-all of digital brushes. Not only because it caters to as many programs as possible, but with 83 brushes, Alicia and I have tried to create a set of brushes that will cater to every need you can possibly have. And to help you produce the most epic stuff that you can possibly make, I bundle it with our ultimate digital painter's handbook, which takes you through the digital painting process to help you improve and refine your painting process, and also maximize maximize your ability to make the most out of these brushes as possible. And as a bit of a Christmas gift for you, I'm gonna give you an extra 10% off. That bundle is actually 20% off of getting those items individually, and you can use the code XmasJazza. There you go. I'm gonna limit it to just the first 500 people to use that code, but if you use code XmasJazza, you can get 30% off of the bundle. It's a huge support to the studio, and it's one of the best investments you will ever make in your digital painting journey. So go check it out. The link's in the description. I'm gonna use the Impact ink, which is one of my favorite inks. We'll see how this all comes together and see if I can make Pikachu look like he was made by Dr. Seuss. Now in this instance, the pen's actually doing most of the work for me. As long as I'm following the general forms that the silhouettes and outlines of Dr. Seussian styles have, scribbling in the rough, like, edge shading on the sides of the character, like Dr. Seuss has in his style, basically does this magical transformation, turning my Pikachu into a Dr. Seussian Pikachu. It's kind of magic. As far as colors go, obviously I'm sticking to the original Pikachu scheme, but I'm just color picking from the Dr. Seuss references on my right, so that the yellow is a slightly more washed out color. Same goes with red and brown and so on. Basically, when Dr. Seuss novels were published, there were very, very tight restrictions of the kind of colors that could be used, which helped basically develop and solidify a very clear style in Dr. Seuss's work. So basically using those colors in my Pikachu will just make sure that he looks like he belongs in any of those Dr. Seuss books. So I've got my design here. If I hide my references, all I need to do to make sure that this works is grab a page from Google. Honestly, like, just that already, like, it looks just perfect, fitting right in the middle of the page like that. That's amazing. All right, I've got one more on me. Let's do this. Final character, number 4, is... that is right in the middle. But again, same rule as last time. I've done Dr. Seuss. I think it's time to do the Joker in the style of... oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I think for this mashup in particular, we should actually go, because I tend to default towards the Heath Ledger Joker, but I think this works best with classic TV Joker. Now we also have classic comic Joker, but I think either could be a solid reference if I'm required to turn Joker into a pony. Do you know what though? Okay. For anyone who is bucking against this, just remember that Joker is anarchistic. He wants nothing but chaos. I think he'd be behind this prompt. Let's do this. Now, fortunately, this is probably gonna be one of the most straightforward transformations of any I've done. Because, I mean, look at any and every one of the ponies from My Little Pony. They're all basically from the same cookie cutter template. Like, there are changes here and there, whether it be the hair or basic proportions, but in general, they're ponies. They all look like ponies from My Little Pony. But there's actually not a lot I can do in terms of like outfit. They don't really wear clothes. Sometimes they have like a belt, baggy or like, you know, but in general, it's just color, hair, basic personality traits, a little cutie mark, is that what they call it? The little sticker thing on their butt. So, you know, we've got a template. For my Joker pony, I kept it really basic to fit in with the cast, trying to match that hair silhouette with the original TV Joker style. As far as the body goes, if I had to pick one feature, it would have to be the bow tie. Not all Jokers have bow ties, but it sort of indicates the idea of a suit, and if the pony's body is purple and the bow tie is green and the hair is green, it creates a nice cohesion and definitely mirrors the styles of the Joker across to the My Little Pony style. Then the face makeup, look, it is the Joker, and I am trying to emulate it in My Little Pony's world, but at the same time it is the same character, so there's got to be white face paint and red lips. And I can apply that nicely and much more easily once all of the clean line work is done, because they're basically the last things to go on. And in the end, isn't it after all some of the most straightforward fits that work the best? Like this was actually pretty simple to produce. and yet one of the most complex and fitting additions to the My Little Pony universe. And you know what? I think my Joker pony is pretty bloody good. I hate it, and I love it dearly. And I hope you feel the same, and if you do, you're gonna enjoy the next video, like right now, because I'm doing this again with Alicia over in Insert Art. Oh, look at Jazza and Alicia spinning that wheel. If you want to see the prompts that Alicia gets, head on over to Insert Art and watch the amazing time that we have making even more of these character prompts. They're wild and weird and wonderful. So go check it out, and I mean, without further ado, let's bring in Alicia and keep this party going.